Hey guys, well, welcome. We're so happy for all of you to be here in Biohack Your Belly, and yeah, so glad for Dr. Pat to do this extra 4 week session for us. I'm just really happy. We're recording it for some of the people who are not able to be on, so but I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. And let me just introduce Dr. Pat, and then she can say a few words, and then we'd love for you guys to introduce yourself a little bit too. So just for a brief moment, is who are you and why are you here? We'd love to hear that. But Dr. Pat is, we've known each other for a couple months now. I've known her through LinkedIn, and we did a podcast together, which was really fun. And then just got to know her. And I'm going to let her introduce her book because she has a phenomenal, fun book. I really think it's an awesome book, Dr. Pat. So she's a functional medicine doctor, years and years and years and years of experience, too numerous to mention. And it's just been amazing to work with you and know you, Dr. Pat. And I'm so glad we're doing this biohacking your belly together to really just optimize how you're feeling, right? Reduce that cortisol, optimize that mood, and just feel better. So super, super excited about it. So Pat, Dr. Pat, you just want to say a little more about you and what you want to do, and then I'd love to for all us to introduce each other as well. Sound good?
Okay, that's fine. I have a slide that I can drop into the group, or you can have access to these slides after I'm done for this group only. That's all I ask in which has a more extensive bio for me. But I've been a healthcare practitioner since 1981 when I started school and started treating people in 1982. So I have a couple of years under my belt. And I always say a couple things that, if you wanted to improve your health, you got to change your gut. And when you change your gut, which we now know in this day and time, is the gut and the mind work specifically together, like hands in a nice pair of gloves. And you have to, you have to, really take a look at, you want to change your health, you want to improve your health, you want to do something, you've got to fix your gut first. And then a lot of other things just naturally fall into place without a lot of effort. So I'm really excited to be here. Today, I'm going to basically teach you why people get sick, and being an Amari, that's where your next best step is to like how to get out of it. So, but I have some specific slides to do that with you. So when we get that far, you'll understand.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. So I'm just going to let's just go around and just introduce yourself real quick. Why you're here and what you want to get out of it, because that's important for us to know as well, right? And then a little bit about yourself. So Alicia, you want to start? I'm talking to you first. Alicia, can you hear me? We don't hear you, girl.
The same 2020. You're on mute. Okay. Okay. I love it so much. My name's Alicia McDonald, and I'm from the Philadelphia area. And I love what Dr. Pat said, because I come from a place of, I worked in mental health for a decade, and it was always an osteopathic approach to the mind and the body. And we did a lot of work around mental health in a clinical sense. And I felt like it was a revolving door, nothing ever. And so here I am, like 20 years later, in a space where I really feel like people can make a difference when they really look at their gut, and then it starts to change everything for their brain. And I love this so much. And I'm so happy Dr. Pat is here in our group, and we are just going to go places when we can just get this message out.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. Hi, Andrea, you're up. Tell us a little about you and what you want to get out of this 4 weeks.
Hi, I'm Andrea, and I live in central New Jersey. And I'm over 25, 30 years, I've been in aesthetics, skincare, doing hands-on, working with doctors, working with spas, teaching, and I've seen many challenges, especially with myself. I've always had IBS for so many years, ups and downs with irritability, stomach, food, allergies, mood, fun. And then, and I learned a lot about how the gut does affect the brain and the skin ultimately. So that was my first, when I look at somebody, before I start doing a facial, I can possibly see some things that they're having struggles with internally. And can you guys hear me, by the
Yep.
way? Okay, good. And because I see Alicia's face on, so I was wondering. Also, I've seen, working with doctors, I noticed that a lot of medications are really affecting people's health. And I just think it's amazing that we can do something alternative to help everyone with their health. Try to cut back on their medication. That's one of the keys. And my goal in life is not to ever start medication, however age, whatever age I'm in. But thank you, Pat. I can't wait to learn a lot from you. I'm excited. Thank you.
Awesome. Barbara, you want to go next? Barbara Campbell? I don't know if Barbara can be on. And guys, please if you want to keep your screens on, we'd love to see your faces. You can mute yourself, right, in between, but keep your faces on. I'd love to see your faces. Barbara, I don't know if you can talk. I'm gonna skip you for now, and then it's okay if you want to just be quiet, but let us know if you want to talk, if you can talk. Chris, can you come and say hi? All the way from the West Coast?
Yes, I will look at getting my video started because I'm on my phone right now.
Okay.
And I'm technologically impaired. Anne-Marie introduced me to Dr. Pat several months ago, and I've been working with her, and it's been amazing to me how the principles that she teaches allow you to deal with other things that are in your life. And when this came up, well, the first thing I did is say, can I do this? Or will this mess up everything else that's going on? And she goes, no, it'll be just fine. And when it comes to mental health, I really think that the more we can improve our own, the better chance we have of being open to the things that other people need to improve theirs. Because every individual needs their own unique approach. There is no cookie cutter approach to helping someone have the best outlook on life and themselves as they can. And so if we are not in a good place ourselves, then we go into formulaic approaches. And in this area, it really has to be tailored to whatever individual you're talking to.
Beautiful. I love that, Chris. Dr. Pat, anything to say about that? Because that's probably exactly what you're saying all the time, but I love it.
I do. Chris is going to be my spokesperson. Thank you, Chris, very much. You have to clear out your own house. You got it before you can. My father always said, nurture yourself, you can nurture somebody else, but you've got to start it in your home base. And so it's always good to make that connection first, and then you can see how that trickles into other areas of your life. And thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that endorsement so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Deanna, you want to go next? It's always good to hear you, Chris. Deanna, you want to go? I don't know if you can.
Sure. Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
No, you're good.
I'm Deanna, and I'm in Maryland, not that far from Anna Marie. And I started this journey purely by meeting Anna Marie. And I was sick. I was really, really sick. And she offered me something that I thought I would give it a try. And it's just been life-changing for me. For me, gut health is just got to be shared with everybody in the world because there's so many things going on. Everybody has some need for it, be it mental right now with everything going on in the world, be it physical because of some kind of a disease or an ailment, emotional, even financial. So for me, that's kind of where it all is coming around.
Beautiful. Thank you, Deanna. Awesome. Debbie, you want to go next?
Yes, I've been an MRA for 1.5 years, and they nicked my bowel with a C-section 31 years ago. So my bowels were never right until I started MRA. Now they're fairly normal most of the time. Antibiotics will mess them up sometimes. But I went on the B3 program before I had hip surgery in July because my A1C was 8.1, and I lost 21 pounds using the program with 2 shakes a day and a meal and two small snacks. I have diabetes. I had a diabetic nurse checking on me through Care First, and the weekly check-ins really helped me. So Dr. Pat, I just being accountable. I want to lose weight again. I've been building muscle and everything with the personal trainer, but also just, it's such a crazy time of year with stress and, COVID's starting to get to me more, and just, I can't wait for springtime, because then at least I can either be inside or outside, even if I can't go a bunch of places. So, things like that. So we're welcome, Dr. Pat. I was on your other thing that Anne Marie did, and I was very impressed. So
Oh, thank you very much. And
Yeah.
where are you, Debbie?
I'm in Laurel, Maryland.
Okay, you're another Marylander.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you very much.
A lot of people in Maryland here. And Debbie, I'm not sure if Barbara can come on or not, or if something not working for her. Would you mind just doing a quick introduction?
I'm trying to get it together here.
Oh, she's got it.
There you go.
Here we go. Can you see me?
See you.
How's everybody? Yeah, I'm on. I'm so tickled to be on. I've had issues with my stomach. I've about maybe 25 years ago, I was like on 12 prescriptions that I was taking 3 to 2 to 3 times a day. So in a day, it was over 100 pills. So of course my gut was in really, really bad shape. So I started December of last year with the B3 program, as well as the fundamentals pack. And I lost 91 pounds.
Wow.
In a year, and I'm losing again because I went back to the doctor about 4 weeks ago, and found that
Repeat that number. Repeat that number.
91 pounds, 91.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, but because of last year when Debbie is my upline, Debbie that just spoke, and before she talked to me about it, I was dealing with lung cancer for the second time, and I was on chemo. I was really, really sick, and I just went all in and just said, I need to do whatever I can to help myself, because I know that things natural are so much better for you than the chemicals, compounds that are given with the medications. So we really do need something that will help the gut. And then I appreciate the mental wellness part of it, because of course, with everything that's happening with COVID, people have pandemic fatigue now. So we need all the help that we can get. Mood helps. There's so many things that's in MRA that's so good for your body. And I'm a person that can attest to that for sure.
Awesome, Barbara. And what made you sign up for this one? What do you want to get more out of it right now?
Well, when Debbie said they were going to be talking more about gut health, I mean, I'm always concerned with what I can do, because once you've damaged your stomach like that with chemicals for years, and then, you go, okay, this has got to stop. So now I'm on 6 medicines once or twice a day. And that's come down to like 5. So I'm doing better. I'm coming down from 100 and something pills to maybe like 5 a day. That's a big difference.
That's huge.
Huge.
And Barbara, and this is Dr. Pat. Can you tell me where you're from, or did I miss that?
I'm from Bowie, Maryland, not far from Debbie.
Okay. It's just like I've got all you Maryland girls here. Happy to see you all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Barbara, for that one. Awesome. We're going to do a lot of things around gut health. I love that. Okay, Linda, you're last but not least, and she is not a Maryland girl.
No, I was a California girl for 50 years and recently moved to Oregon. I'm moving next week from Medford to Eugene, so it's a little busy time for me, but I wanted to make sure to come on and meet you, Dr. Pat, and be part of this. Critical care nurse, 25 years, as medical aesthetic clinic that I owned and ran for 10, which was brutal. Much easier to be a nurse in the hospital. I know that's hard to understand, but working with some people that just kind of like every little thing throws them off. And I'm just really grateful. I was just saying that. I said, thank you so much for my good health, man. I just can't be more thankful. Had good genetics, but I've been a participant in proactive wellness since I was 20. When I was 21, working at Stanford in open heart ICU, I was taking care of a guy that was 42 that had just had a quintuple bypass. And I said to myself that day, what do I need to do to not end up there? So I started at the gym, started drinking water, started, taking supplements, eating right, just, I don't know. I thank God that I took care of that guy that day because it really did change my life. So I'm here to learn more. I am going to be a lifelong student, and I want to hear what you have to educate us about. Dr. Pat, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you. I am glad to be here. Just want to let you guys know I'm a data dumper.
I love it.
So,
that-
so get your pens out and get your pencils out.
There we go. Okay, get a notebook, get your pencils out. And I also, before I'm going to turn it all over to Dr. Pat, just one thing I would love to remind you of, or to get in your heads. This course, the next 4 weeks, is your time. Yes, we're going to have some curriculum and we're going to have some awesome time. But if there's something specific that you want to talk about, tell us. Tell Dr. Pat, tell me. You're all on Facebook Messenger with her. Tell us, okay? Because we'd love to for you to get the most out of this time. And the way to do that is for you to get specific on what you want. And then for us, we can listen and we can help. Okay? That's all I wanted to say. So Dr. Pat, I'll turn it to you. You guys are awesome.
So I'm going to be sharing my screen. So I first want to say one thing. I'm also a Chinese medicine physician too. And the Chinese believe that when you have your gut health, you have health. That is health for them. So a lot of times if you go to an acupuncturist, that's one of the points that they needle is stomach 36, because they're always trying to tonify, which means to bring up to par better function than, than I guess the alternative. And I want to have an agreement with you, ladies. And the agreement is that, let me just get this on slide presentation from the very beginning. I need to put this. Does anybody know how to make that bar go away? Okay, I'm just going to leave it there. I'll get around it. So an agreement, your health is not for sale. So that means like we have to take a look at the foods that you eat, the thoughts that you think, a lot of different factors. And we're going to all go through that here, but it's not for sale. And something to consider, because some of you have had some health issues and some significant health issues, and some of you on like meds, you want to get off of meds. That's always a good thing to do. Is that, the interesting statistic that I find is by the year 2030, that 50% of the people in the United States are going to have some level of chronic illness or disease. So the only way that you can really prevent that and cap it and cut it off at the knee, so to speak, is by taking good care of your gut. So here's my Biohack Your Gut. It's, that's telling you that, when you're looking at different gut issues, it's out of order. That speaks for itself. Hang on a second, my slides are not forwarding. Why is that? Oh, there we go. You can see here that I have a little bit more of a background. I look for the why and the cause of problems, and I look at identifying what that is, and then approaching that point of like, how do I get there and how do I fix it? And so that you can do more things, have and make sense of what's going on. And so that you can have better ways and simpler ways to get unstuck, move forward, and you can have the measurable results and the breakthroughs that you need for your life. I'm dedicated to you. I'm dedicated to helping you with your health, your lifestyle, and your mindset. And I spend a lot of time on mindset because if you don't, in order to really have a breakthrough, you've got to sometimes be willing to step outside your box of what you know in order to make those changes. And sometimes your solutions are truly out there and they're not in something that you've already been doing for a while. So Anne-Marie made a point of talking about my book. It's called Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired? The purpose of this book first started out just as a questionnaire and so people could understand what's going on in their organ systems and where their weakest link is and where their strongest link is. And so I always, somebody who's in my business group said to me, Dr. Pat, I'm not fat, I'm not tired, and I'm not sick. And I disagreed with them. And they're really they were real thin. And so I always say if you're fat or not, basically, you can look in the mirror, you know how your clothes are feeling, you know what size you're wearing, if you're tired. And sometimes we try to push through that tiredness, but we pay for it later. But you don't always know if you're sick, you don't know why. And you have to discover what you have going for you, as well as what your weakest links are. And what might be lurking below the surface. So this book's available on Amazon. I recommend it in paper form. And the reason why I would recommend it in paper form is because it's there in front of you. Every time I ever have an audiobook, I kind of forget that I have them and I go back and go, oh yeah, I should finish listening to that book. This is not something that you finish listening to later on. This is your tool as a guidebook. It's your book for your advocating tool for when you go talk to, any physician. This gives you the ace in your back pocket so that with certainty, maybe something else is going on. Maybe we should be doing, maybe some other types of testing, depending. I don't guess, I test, and this is my first test that comes from this book. So I implore you to participate and grab it. You also get a half hour of time with me at no charge. So if you want it all, you're in the right place. And one of the things, the recent studies in the last couple of years have really pointed to how the gut is related to the brain and that most of your immune system is in your gut. And it's also one of the easiest organs, believe it or not, to fix. So if you're waiting for the perfect time, it's now. If anyone's on the fence, move forward. You just got to do it. So I want to know if everybody agrees or not agrees. I can't see if you're, I don't have everyone's view in front of me anymore, the participants. So if you want to just take yourself off of mute, I need to know if you agree with the statement. When you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams. And when you don't, you only have one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
And it certainly stops you. I was at a women's conference in 2019 and there's 400, 500 people there. And the biggest thing that I noticed was a women's retreat. And the biggest thing that I noticed was women getting up and saying how sick they were because they've been taking care of everyone else except themselves. So that stops today and that stops here. So I'm going to ask, and people can participate. I can't see you, so you can, you can say different things if you want to, but I'm going to ask you what you think health is. What is health?
Energy.
Anybody else?
Peace of mind and heart and body.
Anybody else?
I think it's more of a system of how your body works together to be optimum or not optimum.
Okay.
I think it's a
I
total
will say
comprehensive
that I
thing.
think that my definition of health has evolved. Originally, I thought it just had to do with whether or not my body was working and had the energy to do what I want to. And now I think that the other component is having the desire and the will to use a healthy body should be included in my definition of health.
Okay. I'm going to tell you what the top 3 answers are that I get from people. And it's interesting, I'm really happy to hear Chris, how that has evolved for you. Chris and I have been working together for like 6 months, 5 months now, something like that. And, you know, so I'm always happy to have one of my students going, I'm your cheerleader. I'll always be behind your back. So the 3 most common answers that people tell me is the first one is nutrition. The second one is exercise. And the other one is sleep. And sleep is the third pillar. Nutrition is the first pillar. And exercise is the second pillar of health. There's 2 more, which we're going to go over. But I always say that if this is the case, if nutrition, exercise, and sleep were, you know, the examples, then if I cut my finger, then all I would have to do is eat something, you know, like a salad, you know, go out and take a fast walk and then take a nap and my fingers should be repaired. But that's not the case. And we all have different ideas of what health is. So I'm going to share with you what Webster's dictionary says health is. So what today, remember, we're going to go over, we're going to decide what health is. We're going to see what health means, what my teaching of what health is for you, because it's a bigger piece than what this is. And, you know, we're going to look at how people get sick, and then we're going to figure out how to wrap that up and the reason why we're all here and to move forward. So Webster's dictionary says it's a condition of wholeness into which all the organs are functioning 100% of the time. The problem with that is that you don't know if your organs are functioning or not. I mean, we know that from different, you know, I think it's Andrea that had the IBS, right? From,
Yes,
right?
me.
And so, you know, it's just like, you know, when you first started out, you might have thought they just had stomach pain, you know, and it was like something that you ate, or, you know, maybe you had food poisoning, you know, that type of thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
The World Health Organization says that it's a state of optimal physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmities. What's interesting is that that statement was said in 1946, and it was updated in the 80s. And in the 80s, I'm just going to read this because I don't have it on a slide. They updated it to say, to the extent to which an individual or a group is able to realize aspirations and satisfying needs, exchange or cope with the environment, health is a resource for everyday life, not the objective of living. It is a positive concept emphasizing social and personal resources as well as physical capacities. So if you take all that information, you know, I want to ask you a simple question. And the question is, if somebody has a tumor and they get it cut out, is that person now healthy?
No.
I personally don't think
Nope.
so. No.
Not at all, because I've had that done.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times what happens is in those scenarios is that, you know, sometimes maybe, because if it is a one cell, if it's one tumor and it's encapsulated and they take it out, the answer could be yes. But the thing is, like, there's no lifestyle change, a reason why it became a problem in the first place. And we're going to move on. So the 5 pillars of health that I teach are nutrition and diet, which for me, they're 2 different things. Same, under the same umbrella, but 2 different thoughts. Exercise, proper sleep, proper mental attitude, and posture, structure is function. So in the idea of nutrition, when you look at diet, people always say, I'm going to do a diet. I want to lose weight. I'm going to do this diet. I'm going to do that diet. But we don't always know is if that diet is the best avenue to take and move forward with. And nutrition, you know, is, you know, like sometimes different supplements. So you can take certain supplements that might help you lower blood pressure, but at some point in time, you're going to plane out, and that supplement isn't going to work. So you're going to have to up that system, or you're going to have to figure out which avenue to go and move. Speaking of moving, exercise, you know, and also nutrition relates back to like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and how they mix together. And when you have them mixed together in the right portion, then you have an anti-inflammatory diet, and you have less inflammation just by nature. So exercise, you know, a lot of people like to do exercise. What do you guys like doing for exercise? You can pipe in.
Yoga.
walking, dancing, house cleaning. They're all a form of exercise. A lot of people don't realize that, you actually burn calories when you're, house cleaning, or the such. I always tell people, like, if they hate exercise, because a lot of people just don't like doing it, unless it's convenient, unless it's in this, like in your house, and even then, or if you have to go someplace to exercise, unless you have the convenience of it, many people fall off the wagon within 2 weeks, let alone 3. So my rule is every day, just go out, put your coat on. And if you're up here near Maryland, it's really windy today and cold, and go out and walk as fast as you can, as far as you can, for as long as you can. So if you're just starting out, that might be like, walking down your steps and walking to get your mail, if the mailbox is on the street. But you just start someplace. You start, every day, you just start with that 1 foot forward, and have the mindset that I can do it. The other thing is sleep. There's so many things about sleep that, if you don't get enough sleep, then you don't restore. If you don't get enough sleep, you don't have clarity of mind. If you don't get enough sleep, you end up getting sick, because your body needs to have a level of restoration and a time that that the body has be able to restore each organ system. If you're familiar with Chinese medicine, the Chinese medicine has a circadian cycle. And for instance, between 11 and 1 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, is the time for the gallbladder meridian. And then it goes to the liver, then it goes to the lung, and then it goes to the large intestine. So large intestine is always, when you get up in the morning, you have that morning constitutional thing that you do. It usually coincides with that meridian. I always thought that was interesting. So sleep, a lot of people have a hard time sleeping. Sometimes it's the bed, sometimes it's your pillows, sometimes it's your partner. Sometimes it is, you just got so many things on your mind that it's impossible to move forward. And you're laying there and you're like this, right? You lay there in your bed with your hands like this, and you're thinking, well, maybe I'll try on that red dress. I haven't worn that red dress in a long time, or all your shoes. The thing to do is identify what's going on that's making you have that thought process where you're over ruminating, and write that down. If you can do something about it, get up, put your clothes on, go do it. If you can't do something about it, then write it down, give yourself permission to go back to sleep, take a slug of water, and listen to binaural beats. Does everyone know what binaural beats are? Yes, no. Binaural beats are these beats that are operate at a certain frequency. Some of them help your DNA express itself better. Some of them are for better thought. Some of them are for, I listen to them a lot when I'm writing and I don't want to be disturbed by other noises. So that's kind of what I use binaural beats for. But there's a lot of them. You'll go to YouTube, you can see that. Another one, talking about, proper mental attitude, when you look at mindset, in order to move forward, anytime you want to make a lifestyle change, you got to have the mindset to do it. I always ask people, if, are you willing to do what it takes to be healthy? If so, what level of commitment do we have? And let's dive in. Stepping back to nutrition and diet, I think something that's underrated is reading labels on any type of foods that you're eating. You have to know what the ingredients are. If you can't pronounce them, don't use them. And then you also take a really special look at inert ingredients, like the other things that help like keep supplements together, and then look up those words on Google, and then find out from that what are the side effects of those things. So, but the proper mental attitude, you can't have too much of it. Your lizard brain will shut you down every time you go to take 2 steps forward, and that's the guy that makes you go take 4 steps back. So when the lizard brain's operating, you're on survival. You're like, the fight, flight type thing, and then you have the mammalian brain, which is the emotional brain. And then you have the thinking brain, which works with the emotional brain. So anytime that you have a good experience, take your 3 fingers on your right hand and tap your shoulder, left shoulder. And every time you have a good experience, tap on the shoulder. So I'm going to challenge you during this month to do this, because this is an important anchoring effect. So if you're having a bad day, You know, you can just sit down, close your eyes for 5 minutes and tap, 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 tap. You know, and what it does is that if you're consistent with every time you have a good experience in doing that, when you're off or you're feeling like something's not right, you can tap, 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 and that will help your body. Like, oh yeah, when that happens, I'm feeling phenomenal and I'm feeling great and I'm feeling confident and secure and appreciated and loved. That's what that tap, tap, tap means in my brain. So the other important thing is structure is function. If we don't have good structure, then we're not going to have good function. So sitting up, you know, walking tall, putting that string. Remember when I was a teenager, I had nuns, they said like, pretend there's a thread going straight up to the ceiling. And you have a tendency when you think about that, anytime I mention the word posture or structure is function, I have people who immediately shift and change where they're sitting at. So I want to ask you, what do you think is the most important organ in the body? Anybody?
My mind.
Uh-huh. Close. Anybody?
Gut.
Yeah, the brain, the neurological system is what I would say, but
I didn't hear that. Can you say that again?
sorry, the brain and neurological system.
Oh, you're right, Anne Marie. The answer is the nervous system. It's the master controller of the systems of the body. It controls every organ, cell, tissue, and functions of the body. Without it, each system would not exist. That's from Gray's Anatomy. We all have had that if you studied any medicine. And so how does that relate to a Swiss watch? Because every one of those organs that we have in our body need to work in conjunction with each other. So does a Swiss watch. So when you're looking at that, this is your nervous system, and these are the organ systems that it talks to. So if something's going on with your respiratory system, I can guarantee you your urological system is going to be affected. There's a big connection in Chinese medicine between the lungs and the kidneys and the bladder. And you know, when you get a cold, all of a sudden you got to pee a lot. That happens. And that your digestive system and your circulatory system, your immune system, they all work very well together. And when one starts to get sluggish, then something else pays along. So a lot of times we have things lurking below the surface, like that weakest link I talked about in my book. And in order for that to find out, we got to find out what the component is here, because we need to know where to go. We need to know where to start our health journey, because it really isn't always about the diagnosis. The diagnosis, like what's happened in my environment. So my job is to teach you to thrive. It's not to teach you how to hurt yourself. As a doctor of the future, I don't give medicine, but I'll interest you in how to take care of your human frame and your diet and the cause and prevention of disease. So if your house is burning down, who are you going to call? Anybody?
911.
And 911 is going to be the fire department. Okay, so when the fire department comes, they come with specific tools, right? And they come with hoses and axe. The axe represents surgery, Western medicine, and the hose represents medications. So somebody earlier said they wanted to get off their medications. So when the fireman comes in and they break through your windows and your doors with the axe and they hose everything down, they always say, wow, I did such a good job, but it destroyed everything inside. And then you have someone who's the carpenter, and I'm the new paradigm in that. I'm the carpenter. I come in and say, oh my God, what a mess. And so when you're taking supplementation to support your body that has already had an issue, then what happens is in that issue, you have to like figure out how to fix it, because the gut's one of the easiest organs to fix. But you got to have all the pieces of the puzzle there. So you've got to figure out what piece of the puzzle is missing, and you got to figure out how to fortify that so everything can come back together and gel. So does this make sense to everybody? Is that like a yes? I can't see everybody, so I can't tell if anyone's saying yes,
Yeah.
or shaking their head.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So the question is, though, how did you get there in the first place? So what makes you sick? There's 3 T's that I talk about. And one of them is trauma, the other one's toxins, and the other one's thoughts. Trauma can be anything from starting from birth. So 9 out of 10 births, the child that is being born, whether it's forceps, whether it's cesarean. We don't do a lot of forceps delivery. You hardly hear about that anymore. And has a trauma in the neck, that sits down the first layer of inflammation that you experience as a person. That's 9 out of 10. Other ways that you have traumas is by your fender benders, by poor posture, by stress at work, by sports medicine, wearing the backpack incorrectly, sleeping on the couch incorrectly, poor posture watching TV, and then overuse syndrome of carrying heavy groceries, doing something with a certain posture in a certain fashion for a period of time. That's what overuse is. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
The second one is toxins. So there's still people when I talk to that tell me that they still have metal fillings in their mouth. If you can do it, get them out of there. The other things for toxins is from like the air that we breathe, the water we drink, and the food that we eat, and the chemicals that we use to clean our house, and the chemicals that we use for our garden, or having, the fumes, from the car in front of you that you're choking on. I always say that if you're going to wear makeup, make sure that you could eat your makeup or don't, because a lot of that, there's a lot of chemicals in it when you're looking at it. Anybody in here, if you're drinking Coca-Cola or Diet Coke, aspartame has been directly linked in studies that I have read to multiple sclerosis. And that takes a long time to develop. That's where the why are you sick part, like what's going on beneath the surface and what am I doing that's, adding to that. And then the air that you breathe, it's like we don't have much choice about some places that we live and the quality of the air. But but we can control our environment in our house. Like there's air purifiers, for instance, that are very helpful in houses, and some of them are better than others. So if you're interested in knowing one, I don't get any credit for it, or sidekick from it. I can help you direct you in that direction. And the last thing, about the T is the thoughts. So when we over ruminate and we're stressed about, having a headache, we can't sleep, we're worried about money, we're worried about our relationships, we're worried about, how we're proceeding every day. This one thing can undo any good you do for the toxins and for the trauma. And I always say that's the trauma part is like why you would go to a chiropractor to make sure you're biomechanically sound so the structure is functioning and you have good posture. But this can undo everything. You all know that, when you've eaten something and you didn't feel good, you were in a bad mood or you got in an argument with somebody, how your food just doesn't settle, and then you can't sleep at night and you toss and you turn, you toss and turn, and you get up and that whole process keeps on ruminating. One of the best things, and here's a health hack you can use for women especially, is using cocoa butter. Cocoa butter helps fortify the stress hormone that women experience and helps give you that soothing, peaceful type of experience with that. So there's different ways and venues to get it. Organic is always best.
What hormone is that, Dr. Pat?
It's missing in my head right now. It's the bonding hormone. The
Cortisol?
no, it's not cortisol. It's I'll look it up and I'll let people know. But
Medicine?
oxytocin, that's it. Thanks. So when women get stressed, especially, that depletes rather rapidly. And so the cocoa butter has a lot of magnesium in it and has a couple other things in it that helps fortify, especially for women. So a good place to put that is right across the back of the neck, your hands, your feet. Those are, and you think about hands they use for reflexology and feet for reflexology. That's where to start. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. What causes inflammation? And I'll take answers from anybody who wants to speak out.
So many things.
Food.
Some food.
Medicines, medications.
Well, in basic form, we just went over traumas, right? Is there any question that you have about traumas? Anybody? You all set? Traumas, the joints, you have inflammation in your spine.
Yeah,
Yes, Barbara? Go ahead.
I have MS. It's so interesting now that I mean that's not the first thing I say when I talk about medical things,
Mhm,
but I mean, that's a huge issue to have. That
mhm,
you know, sometimes it affects me, but I'm so on the go since the Amare
mhm,
product, so I know that it's helping the inflammation in my body. I also have different types of arthritis because I had a car accident, major, broke 2 discs in my neck, 2 discs in my lower back in '85. And that's how I met Debbie. Debbie was my occupational therapist. So we've
mhm.
been my heart sister for 35 years
Oh
now.
my goodness, that's
And
wonderful.
yeah, so the inflammation really does make a difference with feeling better and not as many problems with arthritis with taking the Amari products.
Mhm. Well, one of the things about what you say, and we'll go over it in just a second, or we'll go over it now, and we can continue and come back to if we do, is that when you eat something and it goes to your gut, then it goes from your gut into your bloodstream, and then it has to be synthesized by your liver. And when your liver can't synthesize it anymore, whatever the toxin is, then it will store it in blood, brain, bone, and fat. And so when you have, when you can repair your gut, that's why I always say, fix your gut, change your life, is when you can do that, then you're going to have less inflammation from the get-go, but you have to get the chit-chatting going on between the liver and the gut in order for that to sync better. So when you're eating better, you're eating cleaner, and you're taking good supplementation, those things can happen naturally. The second, and that which leads us into toxins, right? So, and then the last thing is our thoughts, which we just went over. So this is one of my favorite Time magazine covers. And because it all relates, and I'm being very heavy on inflammation because we need to know how to get rid of it. And Western medicine has actually failed. They still treat the symptom, they don't treat the cause. I go to the root. And in 2004, this is how long ago this was, 16 years ago, 17 years ago now, almost, they found the link between inflammation and heart attack, cancer, Alzheimer, and other chronic illnesses and diseases. But the thing that where this really is like surprising link is, to me, is a very, very interesting verbiage, because, it's been there for a long time. Is that they've just failed to actually, find it. But now we have the opportunity to not have a surprising link. We have a way to quell it, reverse it, and get rid of it. So to me, that was always a big wow moment. And I hope perhaps it is for you too. So we have to take a look at our mindset. And I talked a little bit about that before, that mindsets does everything. From the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you rest your head at night, everything's up to you. The tap, tap, tap. That's how you get back into sync with what's happening with you. Your emotions, your thoughts, your perceptions, and your reactions. Every moment is dependent upon how you choose to view that moment. And so, having the right mindset to start a program, to be successful in the program, takes support and it takes accountability. And that's what we're here for. I'm here for now in these 4 weeks, is to help you be incredibly successful and to hold you accountable. So one thing is like, one of the things I like about Amari, which they don't really talk about, I don't think, Anne-Marie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I like about Amari is there is a similar approach to how the National Institute of Health approaches lifestyle medicine, because there's lifestyle medicine and functional medicine. Functional medicine is more of an exact quote unquote science, and but is bio-individual, and it's very secular to each person, even within a family. And lifestyle medicine is more like, how do I do it? Like, here, I know this information, but how do I get that to the point where I can funnel that in and have all the information in the right dots. And so the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and you can move forward with assurance and certainty. But the National Institute of Health defined lifestyle medicine as the essential component in the treatment and management of disease that is as effective as medications without the risk of undesirable side effects. Dr. Mayo Clinic always said, you know, you can give one person one medication, you give the same medication to somebody else, and they have adverse side effects. So it always has to be monitored, and you should, if you're taking meds, always check back in with your doctor to make sure that nothing has to be tweaked while you're taking them. And I would never tell you not to take them, but there, you got to, first things first. So when I explain lifestyle medicine to anyone, I always tell it's a treatment of choice for prevention. It's effective in treating chronic illness and disease. And it's it can address more than one thing. So you're looking at diet, exercise, if you want to lose weight, stress management, a non-drug approach, but you always have to look at targeted supplementation. So if you get into my book, Why You're Sick, Fat, and Tired, there are 11, there's 11 organ systems for each male or female. And there's a whole set of questions in that theory, and that you can answer that chart out on a chart, and you can see what your health pattern is at a given moment. So then you can decide where you need to do targeted supplementation. It isn't, you know, like, oh, I can't sleep, so I'm going to take melatonin. Melatonin affects serotonin levels, and serotonin levels affect tryptophan levels. So you don't want to start playing with, like, you know, like that balancing act, because then you're playing Western medicine, right? And watering down with the hose, and we don't want to do the axe part at all. So diseases that are under that umbrella are in any type of inflammatory diseases. You know, they're not limited to type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, obesity, insulin resistance, osteoporosis, and many types of cancers. That's why it's so important in looking at, in this day and time, when we talk about COVID, is like, you know, where our immune system's at. You got to know what's going on below the surface in order to fix it, so that your immune system is optimal at this point in time, and it stays there. So where does this begin? You know, it begins with you, you know, Andrea, Barbara, Anne Marie, me, Dr. Pat, Chris. It always begins with us. We have to take responsibility and accountability for our own health. Then you can make better decisions so that you can choose the correct path for you to go down, so you can have the best, most possible results. And I'm going to end up just letting you know that all your lives matter. Does anybody have any questions?
I have one about the tapping.
Yes,
You
go
have
ahead.
to always tap your left shoulder. I'm left-handed. Can I?
Do the right shoulder. If you feel better tapping your forehead,
Does it matter?
it doesn't matter. Just pick a point that's
is that
easy
what you-
access for you, you know,
Okay.
and so that you can, whatever, it could be, you know, you could easily, like, you know how Carol Burnett used to rub her ear, you know, on the
Right.
side, like at the very end, like this, you know, it could just be as simple as that. You can do whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
And, you know, but it's a good thing. Like when something good happens to you, you know, and you're feeling like, I wake up today, I feel phenomenal. I feel happy. I feel healthy. I feel terrific. You know, God gives me the air that I breathe, the water I drink to repair and revitalize me for the future. You know, starting out with that gratitude, you know, on a daily basis, and then work from there. So when something happens, it's not a big kick, you know, so when the good stuff happens, you go like, oh, you know, it's just like, I know how to feel good, and I can take control. That's part of being able to take some of the control back on yourself. Does anybody else have any other questions? Any comments? Need better explanation? Are you going to ask me a question, Barbara?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, the only thing that I question sometimes is that the balance in what I am taking with the products, because I wonder sometimes if I'm going a little too much, because the last few weekends I've been kind of purging a lot, which I know is good, but it seems like a cycle much quicker than what used to be. So my prayer is that it's something good that's happening, but sometimes I get concerned if I'm taking too much of even the products. But if they're plant-based and everything the way they are, can it hurt me at all?
Well, I think you've got to do, you know, this is what I would do. You know, if I feeling like my supplements are, you know, I might not be digesting my supplements then as well as I should, then I might back off on them maybe for a day or two, not completely, but if you're taking like, not any of your medication, but back off like somewhat for a day and then go back to them. And then I always advocate for titrating, even if something's plant-based, if something's brand new to your body, then, titrating some, whatever it is, a shake or whatever. So instead of, if it's a shake, instead of having like, 2 scoops a day, start off in the morning and have like a half a scoop, and then 2 hours later have the second half of the scoop. So you're still getting the supplementation and that you need for that day, but you're just spreading it out through the day.
Okay,
Might be a
that's
little bit
very
more
helpful.
work, initially, but you
Okay.
would have more of a sense of what's going on with that then.
Okay, thank you. It was a big help.
Amory, would you agree with that?
Yeah, totally with that. I would agree as well. And the other thought I had is and I love, Pat, what you see, what we also love what to do with Amari is the lifestyle component as well.
Mhm.
There are some really good videos already in Amari, right? Go to amari.com, and there's programs in there with some really good videos around exercise and nutrition and things like that, meditation, right? So I always say to people, add that as well. So as you start with this whole progress, right, about optimizing your gut, then start with those things as well, because those help as well. So
Yeah, that's a good thought too. A lot of people ask me sometimes like, oh, how do you meditate? And I like doing mindful meditation. And you did, when I first met you, you did a series of meditations like super early in the morning. But it was really good because it started, after you did them, it started your day and you had the base foundation. There's a saying that I was just like, when something goes wrong, when crap hits the fan, you always go back to basics, and so, and getting, and like, implementing basic products and basic, when you're looking at like, where's my missing link or where's my weak link, then you're like, well, I've got this going on. How can I fortify that? So that's the big thing. One of the things we're going to do next week, is it okay if I tell them about that now, Amory?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things we're going to do next week, I dropped in the very beginning, I dropped in 2 questionnaires. One is called an MDQ and the other one is called HQ Gut Only. When you're looking at, this is the HQ Gut Only is the first chapter of my book. And just so you know where it comes from. And so when I'm looking at somebody to find out if somebody's a good candidate to do detox, I rarely ever find somebody who's not. I mean, in 5 years, I probably have found maybe 2 people who I would say, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. It's really great. But everyone is a candidate for detox, and it's good to get the toxins out of our system because they've been accumulating for a long time. The question is how much detoxification we need to do. And so sometimes just by changing your diet and going through a basic program, you can change those numbers and both effects. So next week, what we're going to do is like take the MDQ and take the HQ gut. It will literally take you maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes in total to do the questionnaire. Keep those questions for yourself. I'm just going to go over them next week and talk about like why does this one dependent upon that one? Like why is the MDQ, when I have scores on the MDQ, I'm always going back and taking a look at what's going on in the gut. The gut will also tell us like where the weakest link is in the gut makeup, whether it's the small intestine, whether it's, producing enough gastric acid to digest your food and that type of thing. And then the third thing that's in there, and we talked about environment, and how you react to the environment, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially. The environmental questionnaire that is there is a gift from me to you, just so that you can take stock of what's going on in your own personal environment, in your house or your work environment or wherever you're at. And that's for you to, like, anytime you write something down, pay attention to that and see if you can find something that is more beneficial to your health and your well-being, and to change that aspect of it. And if you want to talk about what that is, or if you need some ideas, you can reach out and ask me. I'm very approachable and available for that.
Awesome. And I just want to add one thing to that, and then let's see if you have any questions in addition, guys. But next week, we also start the reboot, right, with Amari as well on the 11th. And the Minds Body Biome Facebook group that we have, please be active in that one as well. Okay, so let's help and support each other in that Facebook group as well. And let's do the reboot. Because in addition to everything that we're doing in these Wednesdays, right, with Dr. Pat, and I love that questionnaire that's there. Please be in part of that as well, because it's going to be really fun to do the reboot and the recipes around it too. And I think for what I would love for you guys to do is take this assessment and look at it right now, and also take the mental wellness assessment from Amari one more time if you haven't done so. And then I want to go 4 weeks from now, after we do all this stuff, right, after we make all these changes in our lives and use the B3 body pack and feel better and do everything else with Dr. Pat as well, and see how we're feeling that, because I'd really love to see it as in 4 weeks, like, are we feeling better on that qualitative level, right? Are we doing better? So that's kind of my suggestion for going moving forward. But
I like to give three, I always give 3 health hacks, or get health at the very end when I've been doing presentations lately. And the first thing is to drink enough water and be hydrated. Don't like water, put lemon, put lime in it, but no orange juice. And you need to approximately 50% of your body weight. And also drinking it from a straw or drinking it from a glass that actually goes over your nose. And the reason for that is, is because when you go to drink water like this, you swallow air, and it makes your stomach sometimes feel queasy. And also psychologically, I've been told that it gives you the sensation you might be drowning, even though you know you're not. The next thing I would tell you is eat as clean as possible. So if you have a choice of eating organic or eating something that's GMO, be really careful with soy, especially with being women, and avoid it. And so like eat clean. And the third thing is move, put music on, when you need to take a break, you get up, you have a glass of water, 16 ounces, and you get up and you listen to some music, maybe put on Motown or whatever you like, dance for 3 or 4 minutes, get moving, especially if it's icky and cold outside, or you don't have the accessibility to be there, and then start your day.
love those. Anybody's going to do those? I'm going to do those. Anybody else?
They're
Those
fun.
3 hacks. Are we doing them? Cleanness. So let me repeat them. So drink enough water, right?
Yep.
And I love what you're putting in there. So no orange juice, but lemon or everything is fine. And then move was the second one. What's the second one?
The second one is eat clean.
Eat as clean as possible. I love that. And the third one is move. I love it. Anybody else gonna do that with us? Tell me yes. Yes? Are we on? Okay.
All right.
Yes. I love this so much. I'm taking notes.
Oh, I'm glad. And that, let me know, like if there's how you like the presentation today. I always like to get feedback. And so if you can throw in the chat on a 1 to 10, like where you would rate this, our presentation today to you. And then likewise, if you have something specific you want me to go through next time, because I'm going to be talking about detox, and gut health a little bit more, and like how those 2 functions relate to each other. Make sure that you reach out to me and like on Messenger and just give me some words. The assessment's already attached, Deanna. The assessment is, if you scroll up, it says one thing that says environmental influences. It's a PDF. There's an MDQ that's a PDF, and there's a HQ gut only. Do you see that? Does everybody have it?
I don't see
Yeah,
it.
I'm also going to put it in the messenger that we have as well. But you
Okay.
have all the way to the top, guys. It's invention. I see it. There's 3 of them there. So I'll just make sure that I'm also putting them in messenger so you can get them from there as well. But this recording is going out to everybody as well. I know there were some people who couldn't be on today, so we'll record this and we'll send it as well.
All right, awesome. And
Thank you, everybody. Excuse me, Dr. Pat, I've got to leave. I had a doctor's appointment teleconference at 1. I need to scoot.
no problem. They charge you
Glad
for
I
those
could
if you
be
don't
with
show up.
you.
So,
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said they show you for if you don't show up for those. You got to be on time.
Yeah.
You know,
So
so
I'm
so you
gonna
go
scoot.
you go do that, and you know, blessings to everybody. I thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for being.
much. I really appreciate your help and your information, and it's helping me in my mind to get going in my heart. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Enjoy your day,
Thank
everybody.
you.